Hello, I'm Dr. Hoby Wedler. I've been completely blind since birth and earned my PhD in physical organic chemistry from the University of California, Davis. Now I love working in the EMOTITECH brand as a co-founder, and I do a lot of work in the food and beverage industry where I get to utilize the chemistry that I study every day. Today is no different because we're here testing several different coatings to go over paint. Essentially, when we paint a surface, we use primer, and then in this case, acrylic paints that have color in them. But if you let those acrylic paints sit out in the open for years, months and years at a time, they start to break down, and the colors change a little bit as they break down and they fade. So what we're working with are wonderful technologies, a pair of technologies and coatings that are clear to coat over paintings that we design so that those paintings are protected for a long period of time. The first technology that we're using is a type of coating which is a polymer of fluorinated hydrocarbons. So these are just long chains of carbon and hydrogen where every other hydrogen is replaced by a fluorine atom. Fluorine chemistry is very unusual and very unique because it creates materials that in many cases are very strong. And with this polymer, it's no exception. When we put this clear coat of fluorinated polymer on top of either simply primer that's been primed on cement pallets or primer and then colored acrylic paint, we run tests to observe its stability. Basically what we're doing is we're using chemicals for the first test in the laboratory to make the processes of degradation that might happen in nature much faster. So one of the chemicals we used is something called peracetic acid, which is an oxidizing agent that has radical chemistry, which will basically oxidize completely the surface of something that's not coated. And what we saw is extreme color degradation and yellowing with the oxidation agent of the uncoated, unprotected paint and primer. And we saw absolutely no change with the fluorinated clear coat. We then tested two very strong acids, two of the most caustic acids out there at high concentration. One is hydrochloric acid and the other is nitric acid. And as you can see in the video, we see no degradation in the fluorinated surface with either of those, but we see extreme degradation and even degradation that breaks the coating and goes down to the cement surface in the paint that is unprotected. The other test that we ran is a rigidity test. So we basically took these panels with both with unprotected paint and with the protected fluorinated coating and put them in a refrigerator at about 25 degrees below 0 Celsius. We took them out and hit them as hard as we could with a rubber mallet. And what we see with the fluorinated coating is that it really extends out any stress so that it spreads across the surface. Whereas with the unprotected surface, it holds that stress localized to right where we hit it. So we see damage to the unprotected surface, but absolutely no damage to the protected fluorinated clear coat. And what you might imagine in the outdoors for this test is things hit walls, whether a car might drive into a wall. That definitely would if I was driving. Or something else from the outside environment collides with the wall where the paint is, it shouldn't be badly affected at all. Now the other technology we used is a photocatalytic technology that essentially utilizes the amazing quality and properties of titanium dioxide as an oxidizing agent. So when we burn hydrocarbons, like the things that run your car and gasoline and diesel, we burn them in the presence of oxygen, and that burning is what drives your vehicle, and we release carbon dioxide and water. But inevitably, a lot of those gases don't necessarily burn, and you end up with cities that are covered by a haze of brown smog. Who wants to breathe brown smog on a daily basis? I don't think many people. So this technology uses the oxidation of titanium dioxide to literally break down these hydrocarbons and in the presence of oxygen again, and oxidize them into carbon dioxide and water. So that's a wonderful process to clean the air and clean out pollutants that we don't want to breathe, basically unwanted black and brown pollutants that are really not good for city environments. So what are we doing here? Number one, we're figuring out ways to protect, very technical ways to protect painting in general and protect walls and to protect cement. So that's very important. Number two, here at EMOTITECH, we believe in preserving art because we create beautiful artworks, not just to stimulate the visual sense, but to stimulate a multisensory approach with the palette of colors that we use. I myself am a sensory expert, and I believe that there are so many psychological factors that can definitely be impacted by color when people leave a place. So we're standing here at the Noy Tech Park right now. We're going to be painting the entrance of the tech park, and we want to be able to preserve the beautiful painting and the beautiful ideas of the artist and also the multisensory aspects of those artworks. The third and final aspect of the importance as a chemist that I see to this work is that we're essentially figuring out ways to leave the environment a better place than we left it. Imagine a city that's full of smog. If we can paint beautiful things on walls for people to look at and experience with all their senses, but those paintings can also reduce the level of pollution, we're accomplishing two amazing goals with one step by creating truly beautiful artwork at the same time. I hope this little chemistry lesson was useful, and I'm so excited to continue working with y'all in the future.